I'm going to try to do this. I've got a little bit of a frog, getting over a cold, but we're going to try to do this without the microphone. If it gets bad, we'll use the microphone. LinkedIn, in particular, why do we need it? And those sorts of things. So the first question is, how many of you have a LinkedIn profile? Okay, how many of you have done anything with your LinkedIn account since you put your profile together? How many of you done anything worthwhile with your LinkedIn account since you put your profile together? Okay, so you've made connections, you've tied into people. How many of you have used it to find a job or an internship? One in the back, two, or three of you. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about how to make your LinkedIn profile something that's attractive, something that will get you noticed by recruiters. There are more and more recruiters that are going to LinkedIn and they're using it while you're a student. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to show you a few search techniques. We're not going to go over a lot of them, but we're going to go there. This is the main reason that we're doing it. More and more of the recruiters are using the technologies, the social media, the other elements to try to find you and do the things that need to happen. But 80% of the recruiters are going to find out about motivation and fit. They're also doing the likability portion. The way this breaks out, 60% of the equation of what an employer needs to know in order for you to be hired by that employer is in competence. And 60% of the equation is in your resume. That's why we spend so much time on your resume. Your resume is what you submit with your application, and it's what they make their decisions on whether to interview you or not. So 60% of the equation is there. The other 40% of the equation is found in likability or motivation and fit. And it's not exactly 20/20. There are certain companies who want to like you more, want to fall in love with you more. So 35% and 5 in terms of motivation and fit. There are others that are just the opposite. They would prefer to like you less when they know you fit best into their organization, because they know that you'll fall in love and that things will happen. And this is no different than it is with life. You will date, hopefully. Most of you will date, and that sort of thing. You may date 5 or so different people. That doesn't mean you're going to like every person that you date, right? Or maybe you should like every person that you date. But you're going to end up liking some of them more than you like the others, and you're going to make a decision on whether or not they fit in your life plan, or whether or not you're going to go with them one more time. The confidence part is usually pretty well understood. If she's a woman, you usually date her, right? If you're a man, and vice versa. So there's some other elements that are there. You want to know that there's lights on and things are happening. And it's the same thing here. But the main reason we're going over LinkedIn is for that purpose. So you want to go ahead and switch over. Okay, this is to kind of give you an idea that LinkedIn is not Facebook. Do not treat LinkedIn like you do Facebook. You've probably heard that many times, but LinkedIn is for the professionals, and it's for when you're serious about what you're trying to get done and what you're trying to do. You can see the demographics here. You can find out who uses it most, those sorts of things. Average time spent on the site. You spend more time on Facebook than you spend on LinkedIn. That's the way it normally goes, because usually you're talking about all the fun you had rather than trying to connect with somebody on a professional basis to talk about work or different things. But that's the understanding. Notice the differences, I guess, when we get down into household incomes, who uses LinkedIn, those sorts of things. But the recruiters are using it more, and we'll have another chart that talks about that. This is me, just so you have an idea. This is the big question. How many of you prayed in order to get into Brigham Young University? Okay, you submitted your application, just expected it to happen, or did you actually pray to get here? How many of you prayed when you submitted your application to get into the Marriott School? More, okay, generally speaking, because now you're here and you're going, wait a minute, it's the business school and they don't take everybody. And you prayed to get in here. Look at the percentage of the population for the university and what you are. Just remember always that you prayed and that you're here. So the question also comes, how many of you prayed after you got your acceptance letter to say thank you that you are a part of the Marriott School? That gratitude is also important in who you are and who you represent. And so your brand is what you represent, and that's what we're going to talk about. First, I got to show you that it's better to have LinkedIn than perhaps Twitter and Facebook. This is where recruiters go. All right? This is an eye chart. Generally speaking, just to show you that the people in the Netherlands care more about LinkedIn than the people in the United States. Okay? And it is a worldwide scenario as far as LinkedIn is concerned. It's a population and accounts. We're all about building your brand for the Marriott School. And our dean has said that every one of you make a difference. And if you have a tagline anywhere, whenever anybody asks you what you're doing in the Marriott School and that sort of thing, it's because you make a difference. That's what we teach you. That's what it's all about. That's one thing that you can deliver when you get out there, is that you will make a difference in what takes place and what happens. So this is the brand that you're supposed to manage, and the things that you're supposed to take with you. You're here, you're separate, you're part of that 9% of the entire population. Represent it well. Go ahead. The profile tells your professional character. One of the main reasons that they come here is because you signed the honor code. One of the main reasons that they come here is because you signed an honor code. Go ahead. We've seen that before. Go ahead. So, how many of you understand SEO? Search engine optimization rules, those sorts of things. So when you Google something, it goes into a search engine. And automatically, there's a priority order that's established based on whatever word or whatever character or thing that you put in there. The same thing happens in terms of websites, social media sites, and so on down the line. And LinkedIn is considered to be one of the Google things. So how many of you have Googled yourself lately? 3 or 4 or 5 maybe. Okay, how many of you have Googled yourself in the last year? Everybody says they have. Okay, supposedly. What did you find out?
Andrew Bass. So my last name pulls up basically in Andrew places basic car comes up who I am. So that's kind of the challenge that I have.
Okay, so Google is based on particular words, right, that come up more often. This search engine optimization rules, and those sorts of things. Google says there are certain sites that are authentic, where we go to first to search for information. So when you Google yourself, the first things that they're going against are some of these types of databases where they should find a profile on who you are. Okay, it could be your prison record, if you've been to prison, that sort of thing. On that first page, in the first top 10 of what comes out of Google, LinkedIn should be there. Your LinkedIn public profile should be listed as one of the items when you're Google yourself. If it's not, then you can do some things to try to make that happen and make it work right. It is difficult if you have your last name of Smith and your first name of Richard. Okay? There are some things still that can be done, but you have to claim your public profile in order for that to happen. And we're going to talk a little bit about claiming your LinkedIn public profile so that it shows up in a greater sense on Google. Why? Because again, recruiters are going to look beyond just LinkedIn. All right. So, this sounds familiar, but I have to emphasize it. There are 3 things the employer really wants to know. Can you do the job? Are you confident? That's on your resume. Do I like you? And motivation and fit. Whenever we go through this process, when you interview and that sort of thing, we're trying to find out if you're as good in person as you are on paper. Are you as good as you say you are, as you write your profile, or as you put everything together? That's why we go through this interview process. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, so on LinkedIn or on your resume, would you suggest putting hobbies so that they can see if they like you?
Yes, and you will see this, okay?
Okay.
All right, we're going to go through how to build your profile, but hobbies is one that, yes, you can put that in there. And we'll explain a little bit why, for what it is. But the main reason they go to LinkedIn, what's the main reason that people go to LinkedIn, the first reason? What would you think? Why would anybody go to LinkedIn to look you up? Any ideas? Go ahead.
See what kind of job experience you have.
Okay. What do you think is the very first thing they look at when they call you up? Right?
Or is it like what they look at on LinkedIn?
Yeah. What do they look at?
If there's any mutual connections there.
Okay. Any connections? Anything like if there's work scenario? But what's the very first thing they look at? Your picture. They look to see if they like your picture. They like who you are. One more time, they look to see you. Go ahead. So here are the top 8 points. When we're done, there should be some handouts in the back that are going to refer to these top 8 points and a couple of the search techniques. Go ahead. Your profile, it matches your professional brand. So we want a professional picture. Go ahead. Okay, guys, how many of you guys want to marry this woman? No takers? She's already taken, all right? She's married, that sort of thing. All right, well, is that a professional picture or is that a glam shot? Somebody said both, and they're correct, all right? Is it okay to have glam shots? Must be, because she got hers up there, right? And we're showing an example and that sort of thing. What makes a photo professional? What's the one element?
It conveys the message we're trying to send on the profile.
Okay, that's the branding and the marketing piece of professionalism. Yes, you're correct. But the one thing that makes it a professional photo is that they can see the pupils of your eyes. Okay? You need to be able to see the pupils of the eyes. That's what makes it professional. A lot of people say, oh, that's just a headshot or whatever else. You need to think it through. In the United States in particular, the Western world, that sort of thing, we talk about the window to the soul. We talk about our ability to see each other and to trust each other immediately. We get an idea of whether you're a dark character or a light character because we can see the pupils of your eyes. We can see whether you're mischievous, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, right? All of those sorts of things. But a professional picture is one that shows that. We had this presentation one time, and I don't know why, but a gentleman came up and showed us the picture of him in his tux, all that sort of thing when he got married and that, but he wasn't smiling. And he said, is this a good shot? And I said, well, I don't know. Were you happy that you got married? The bottom line is, again, the marketing, the professional marketing cues, the things you want to portray about who you are and what you're doing. Should you have a picture of yourself and your spouse or your significant other combined? The answer is no. This is not Facebook, okay? This is LinkedIn. This should be just you. What other things might be a detractor in terms of your photo? So there are certain things you shouldn't do with your photo. Somebody's saying something. Hey, what about the background? What should be behind you? Okay, nothing distracting. What about a horse? Is it okay to have a horse in your picture?
No.
No? Okay. What if you're trying to be a veterinarian? Okay. Then maybe you could. If you're trying to be a horse whisperer, maybe you should. Okay? Every photo should align to the professional audience that you're trying to connect with. Your photo should project the persona associated with that professional group that you're trying to align to. So be careful, but just remember that the professional photo is that we see the pupils of your eyes. Okay? Is that professional? Why? He looks like a freshman. Okay. Okay, lower resolution, that's true. That's a part of it.
That's a mission shot.
It's a mission shot. Actually, no. It's out in the hallway and it's almost like a selfie. Never take a selfie. Do not use photos that you don't have the best resolution for, those sorts of things. And in the background there, what does it look like? It looks like church, or it looks like he's in the hallway, right? And there's bricks behind him. We say he looks like he's in prison. All right? Be careful again with your background. But everything else about him is fine. He's looking at you. He's got a suit and a tie. Does everybody have to wear a suit and a tie for a professional picture? Women don't. Okay? But men, do you have to have that? The answer is no. Again, whatever the profession is that you're shooting at and what you're trying to do. Okay? Headline. Where's my headline? You guys can figure this one out pretty easy. Where's my headline? Right under your name, right next to your head. Okay? It's called the headline. So, what does that tell you? Anybody want to connect with me? In this group? Probably not, if you're not chasing information systems or technology as it relates to business. But some of you may say, oh, wait a minute, he's got connections to some of the bigger players out there and other organizations. Perhaps I should connect with him. And I should know certain things about it. Okay, your headline is again a marketing statement. It's managing your brand. Okay? So what do you know about Ashley? She's an MBA candidate, right? You want one of those? You may not, okay? But the bottom line is, how are you going to project yourself right now if you're going to be going for supply chain or if you're going to be doing other sorts of things? You've got to think this through. When you develop a headline is searchable.
Well, I wouldn't want to connect with you or Ashley necessarily. If I'm not going to remember who you are like 5 days down the road, and then a year down the road, like some connection, and you're not going to remember who I am, I'm not going to remember who you are. What's the use of that, other than to have another connection?
Okay, it is true that a lot of us will have LinkedIn, or we might have our Facebook. We may have a whole litany of people, and we don't get in touch with them until we need them. And in many cases, when you link with somebody, you should link with a purpose. And you can put your own notes. LinkedIn has a way to tag, and they have a way to put notes in there so you can remind yourself when you talked with me, when we met, what we did. And then, even if it's a year later, you can still send a note and say, hey, remember when we drank strawberry daiquiris? I'm not suggesting that you do that, but at any rate, That's the way you can make it happen or make it work. And you may say, well, in 5 days it doesn't matter, and that's true. But in 3 weeks, when you're closer to graduation, or whatever the case might be, there may be another reason. It may work. You're going to find different ways. We're going to talk about groups that matter and that you should join. Okay? All right. Education. This is our dean. How many times did he put Marriott School in his profile here? We do want you to brand yourself as Marriott School. We do want you to indicate more than just Brigham Young University. Some of you will say, no, Brigham Young University is enough. But again, remember, 9% of the student body went to the Marriott School. Not everybody got here. Go ahead. The reason that we do that, again, is it's searchable. Okay, we got to talk about your URL, your public URL. Go ahead, one more. This is what's called a public URL. Every time you build an account, LinkedIn asks you to check that little box that says you'll abide by all the rules and conditions. I don't know how many of you read those 10 or 12 pages every time you're asked to, or if you just check the blog. But the bottom line is they say that they will build a public URL that will be searchable unless you change it and do something about it. So it comes out like this, only there's a whole bunch of numbers, and we're going to show you one that are on the back side of that. So Matt has claimed his public URL. And we want to keep it unique and personalized. Let's go on. All right. So, here's a public URL. This is the way most of your URLs read right now. I would wager that most of you have not claimed your public URL. You are still in prison. That is your prison number. It's on the back side there. There's probably 6 or 7 characters. This information right here. It's very easy to claim it. All you've got to do is go to Profile and hit Edit Profile. And when you hit Edit Profile, it'll be in the little Edit button right down where your public profile is located. You hit the Edit, and then you can go in and it doesn't have a dash G, so on. Somebody's worried about how they can be different than Richard Smith. This is where you can change up a few things. Your public profile is usually based on what you put right up at the top as your first and last name, or whatever was part of your original name. But you can change this down here. You can put puppy love if you want. I wouldn't suggest you do that, but you can do different things. But take off that last bit of garbage, those numbers that are on there, because then recruiters and other people know that you're serious about using LinkedIn, if you know something about it. Okay, gonna go back. Contact information. How many of you know what this little symbol is right here? Anybody know what that little symbol is, the little card thing? Somebody say what it is. The Rolodex. What does that mean? Something they used back in ancient days, okay? Back in my time, before we had such things as cell phones and computers and those sorts of things, we sat by a rotary telephone, one that you used your finger with, and you spun the dial. And when we had this little thin folder of little tiny cards, and they called that a Rolodex. And you'd pull out a card, and you would write the name and the phone number and any notes on that little card, and they would be in A through Z, and you'd pop them back in to your little Rolodex, as they called it. There are many companies that will hire people simply based on their Rolodex. What does that mean? Simply based on their contacts. The number of people that they know in business or in other realms and that sort of a thing. So your contact information is considered to be priceless in some regard. So, they allow you to put in as much contact information as you want. How many of you are going to put in your phone number and your home address and your birthday? How many of you are going to actually put all that information in? This is what he did. You need to make it so that they can connect with you or contact you as easily as they want. But do you really need this or that? Okay, and we talk about privacy and everything that goes on these days. When I talked with Kent and I asked him, so why, you're not done two things for me. Number one, you haven't claimed your public URL. And then number two, why did you put all that in there? And he said, quite honestly, if I Google myself, every bit of that information shows up. So it doesn't matter. To me, it's okay to have it on here, and it's professional. I'm a professional. It doesn't hurt me. Those sorts of things. That was his view of it. You have to make your own decisions on what you consider to be professional or important. But the most important reasons were ways for people to get in touch with him. The email, the phone number, and the other websites. That all is available to you, and a decision can be made. Now, before you leave that, right up here it says 500 plus connections in blue. The 500 plus. Everybody understands that LinkedIn is based on connections, right? How many have done the Kevin Bacon drill? Everybody understand Kevin Bacon?
5 degrees of freedom.
Yeah. What does that mean?
That within 5 connections, every actor is going to have a
Okay? So within 5 connections, okay, that sort of thing, every actor has been in a movie with Kevin Bacon. All right? Now, what we use LinkedIn for is very similar. Within so many realms of connections, within 3 realms of connections, you can probably find a person who is living your dream. The main reason you want to be on LinkedIn is to find people who are living your dream. Okay? The first level of connection are your best friends, your number 1 connections, right? Your number 2 connections are friends of friends. And your number 3 connection are friends of friends, or groups. And we'll see that a little bit. The number 500 plus is in blue. What does the blue mean? It means that you can look at every one of his contacts. If you get to a profile and the number's in black, that means that person's not willing to share all of his contacts with you. It also probably means they're not a first connection, because almost all first connections that you have are in blue.
So when you're connecting with people, I know that sometimes I've seen people on the site that says that they have this job and it sounds so interesting, I'd love to connect with them. I don't know them personally. What's the best way to do that? Because you have to be connected to them to send them a message, but then it'll say, how do you know this person? And I'm like, frankly, I don't know you, but I want to. How do you go about doing that?
Okay. There's several ways to do it. You can click the button that says make a connection, and then you can write some little words in there and say, I'd love to talk to you about this or that. But the best one is to go to a group and find out if in fact that person's within that group. Because anybody who's within the group you can reach out to and talk to immediately. Right? That's the best or easiest way to answer that. Okay. Your summary. Let's go on. Your elevator pitch. That sort of thing. How many of you are disgusted with your resume because you can only talk in third person? You can never use the word I. You should never use the word I on your resume. Well, LinkedIn lets you be a person. Okay, in your summary, you get to use the word I. You get to be a character, an individual. You get to start telling us some things to get us excited about who you are, and get us a little more enthused about what we're getting when we get to you. It doesn't need to be a total reflection of your resume. Do not take your resume and put it into the summary on this. Take what the highlights are. Take what's important to you. Take your passion. Push it into this summary. Summaries are searchable. Again, by LinkedIn and by the employers. They're going through all that process. Okay? Right here it says specialties. That is another area that you can fill out. Okay? Specialties or specialities. All right? You can put those in. Those are searchable. Different areas. You can add little pictures. Anybody know what silver linings is? Which is that little picture down there. Okay, that's a technology that's out there. And so on. So he wants to brand himself associated with that. There are different ways that you can set up your profile and push your summary to make yourself attractive to what you're chasing and what you're going after. Okay? So it says specialties. Again, that's just showing you those specialties. Then there's the interest, goes to the hobbies question that was asked about it earlier. The value of hobbies and so on. So in Catherine's case, what did she put up there? Okay. In her previous scenario, that's a hobby. Golf, right? Why would you put golf up there? Any reason to put golf up there other than it's fun? I love it. That kind of stuff. Successful people golf. By what percentage do successful people golf? Don't know. Okay. Golf is considered by many the sport of choice for business. Okay, there's a lot of business deals that are done out on the golf course. Those sorts of things. All right, let's go ahead and hit. You can see the golf. Go ahead, one more. Down here, you get to fill out a little section, and it says interest. And she put her golf in there, but she also plays guitar. Okay, and she does other things, and that it's all right. But, and it does happen, by the way, we have 2 equally qualified candidates, but the boss really wants somebody who can play golf. So who gets the chance? The person who's playing golf will get the first shot at the job or the opportunity. So sometimes that can happen and things can go with it. Okay. Okay. Go through the 8. Join groups. Why do you want to join groups? Easier to connect with people. That was one of the answers. When you join a group, and it can be the equestrian group, okay, it can be the cat cloning group, it can be all kinds of things, but usually it's a professional business group. These are people that you don't know. Okay, they live in other parts of the world, they live in other parts of the country, but they may be working in the companies that you really want to work in. They may not be members of the church, but they have the same professional desires to perform well, and they have the ability to talk to you if you want to talk about your profession. Or they have a white paper, or they have something that talks about research in their profession area. So we want you to connect with groups. It also tells LinkedIn, okay, that you're serious because it's another searchable field. Another reason. This is just a smattering. We obviously want you to be part of the BYU Management Society, the BYU alum. So join those societies and those groups. You will find many reasons why this works for you. Clubs, associations, and organizations. You can even use those that are current here within the business school. You will find many reasons how those all groups work out to your benefit to find people who are living your dream, who are doing things that you want to do. Okay. So now we're going to jump over to Ben Willard, who worked for me. And his profile, that sort of thing. We want to show you how to search for people. All right? Many of you have done this perhaps already, but across the top there's a ribbon. We talked about home and profile and connections. So we're going to go to connections. Down at the bottom it says find alumni. When you open that up, you get this little graph. How many people have done this already? A few of you, okay. Bottom line is this. He's got, what school is he attending? Brigham Young University, it's up there at the top. You can change the school if you want, but based on his profile and the people he's connected to, those sorts of things, BYU individuals who are part of alumni, in way, shape, or form, attended school from 1900 to 2014. How many of you want to talk to somebody who's dead and buried? Because 1900, there's not a whole lot of people running around. So if you're going to change that, 2010, and now watch what happens to the number. It shifts. Okay? So make sure you know what time frame or timeline that you want to use to do those things. Now you can see the United States, and it breaks it down into different areas that will show more. So it'll show you all different cities and areas where everybody is working, what they're doing. Go to the middle category. It says, where do they work? So if you wanted to find somebody, Adobe, or Microsoft, it doesn't matter, we'll choose Adobe. As soon as you choose something, what happens? Everything else runs again, right? Now, what do? So choose information technology. We're now down to the 23 people, okay? And you can see where they live. Not all of them live in Provo for Adobe. All right, go back up. Showing them pictures before we. All right, down here, there's this little gray arrow. Okay, there are 3 more filters. So now, what did they study when they were in school? You want to find somebody who's done marketing? Because you're going to be a marketing major? Then maybe you have to choose the marketing area. What are they skilled at? You can choose any particular skill that you might be interested in. Go ahead and choose one. Okay, you didn't go so well, but you ended up with a group member.
Nice.
All right, so now down to the bottom, there is the person. It's done everything for you. You've sorted all the way down, and here's the list of people that are fit. Your category, your search, and what you're trying to do. That connects you up with that alum person and whatever else. And he's a member of a group. If you click on his profile and open it up, view his profile. Okay, so when you open this up on this side, this happens to you, it happens to everybody. People also view this person, and this person, and this person, and so on down the line. The first thing you want to know is how you connected to the person that you found in the first place. So I need to talk to Steve Albrecht, Jim Namella, that person to get to him. The answer is no, because he's in the group. I can go to him direct. I can talk to that person direct because he's in the group. Go back up. Stop. If, in fact, they viewed other people, would you want to go look at who they viewed? The answer is yes, because it could match exactly what you're trying to do, who you are, and that sort of thing. So Ben, go to your own profile for just a second. And you want to see the same thing over on this side. There's a little, it says there are 11 people that looked. LinkedIn makes this kind of fun for you. It tells you what percentage, it tells you what kind of strength your profile is. And then it says they also viewed all these people. So if they looked at him and they looked at those other people, Ben may want to know why, if they looked at him, they looked at somebody else. And so again, he's going to check on that person. He's going to find out what's going on. They suggest people that you might know. They talk about different things that you might be able to do. This is one of the quickest ways for you to find somebody who's lived your dream or is currently living your dream so that you can make that connection or do those things. They are alums, and most alums tend to connect back with you and talk with you. And that, okay?
Okay.
So, yes, let's go ahead and talk about jobs for just a second. When you click on jobs, you can type in any job title that you want. They search jobs. Type in any job title that you want.
Like companies?
Job title. Any job title that you want. Okay, so now it tells you people that are doing database stuff, people with or without. Okay, that's all great and wonderful. It tells you here are these jobs that are available. But most of us are trying to find jobs that are entry level or internships. We're students. Okay? And then most of what you see on LinkedIn when you do this jobs category or line are all experienced hires plus everything's mixed in. So the one thing that LinkedIn has done is they have created a separate website for students. It's outside of your LinkedIn account. All right? So you need to go to www.linkedin.com/studentjobs. And when you go there, this is what you get. Okay? And then you're over here and it says search any job function. Go ahead and hit the arrow.
Oops.
You hit the search jobs
Yeah.
before you hit the arrow. But you hit the arrow, and you can choose your job function or area. It could be supply chain, it could be marketing, it can be all those sorts of things. Choose one, and then hit search job. Now you're going to get everything that's associated by the companies that are using LinkedIn to post jobs for students in either entry-level positions or in internships. So you should be able to find a direct connection back through. Okay, last search. Interests. Companies. Okay. You can type in any company that you want. Okay, again, you get the same thing. People that work there and that sort of thing. Okay, choose people who work there. Go up to the top. Are you at the top?
Yeah.
So, this can tell you different people that you can connect to that have worked within that company. You can get directly to them. They show you the level of connection if you are, second level, and so on. You've got first levels up there in this this left-hand corner. It usually shows you their pictures, and you can make those direct contacts and do those things. Go back to interests, hit companies, choose Adobe. Okay, you've got Adobe up there in this up in the upper left. It says follow. Why would you follow a company that you're interested in? Obviously, right? I want that company. I'm going to follow it. What does that do? It feeds your news feed on your drop-down LinkedIn. So you can click it, you can click off of it. But it also shows you again how you're connected within that company. The second level of connection and all of that. You may want to do a further searching if you see all, don't push or something. But this is another way for you to get connected and to do what you need to do. If you're going to follow a company on LinkedIn, you should also favorite that company on the bridge. The bridge allows you to favorite companies. The bridge allows you to favorite jobs. When you do that, again, in your news feed on the bridge, you're going to get the latest thing that gets posted by that company to the bridge. Same thing's going to happen in LinkedIn. If you follow the company, the latest thing that's posted by the company is going to show up in your news feed. So there's all those values for you. Okay, that completes the LinkedIn presentation. Thank you.